Hi everyone, hey, thanks for joining me for episode 4 of Question and Answer. Before I get started, I just want to say thank you to everybody that signed up as one of my patrons over at patreon.com/KirkJohnson. After the last one, I had about 4 new patrons on there, so now I'm up to about 31, and I'm well on my way to my goal of having 100 patrons. Anyway, if you'd like to sign up, please do so. The link is right down in the description below. But let's get to your questions here. Also, I just want to this is in relation to the questions, just say thanks for everybody that pointed out that the LT does not have a CAN bus system. Yeah, it does not have a CAN bus system. The CAN bus system, for those of you who don't know, think of it as a network cable. So just like one cable, and whenever you do something electrically on the bike, it sends a signal and and the CAN bus system, the computer, will interpret that signal. So like if you grab the brake, that's going to send a certain type of signal that says the brake light's on. It's a way for them to use just one system and hopefully eliminate some of the electrical issues on later bikes. The only time you run into some issues sometimes is when you put on accessories with a CAN bus system and it doesn't know how to interpret those signals. So sometimes it thinks that there's a problem or somebody's trying to steal it, whatever, and it just throws an error basically. So these don't have that. They do have warning indicators, certain warning indicators, but those are within the computer and they're hardwired in. So thanks again to everyone who pointed that out. Yeah, but no CAN bus, thankfully. Maybe not thankfully. I don't know. Anyway, now let's get on with the questions. All right, I got an email question here from Greg Wobble, who wanted to know if I've ever cut out a catalyst on the after the header to the muffler and put on a straight pipe to muffle and help performance, and then wrap the header with a heat wrap. I have not done that, Greg, but I'll tell you what, that sounds like something I would do. I would do it just to try it. So yeah, maybe that's a great subject for a future video. I can maybe get a hold of another exhaust system and hey, do some experimenting. I know that there are guys out there that have done this already, and if you have and you can point to those articles, if people that have gone out before me on that kind of thing, put it down in the comments section down below. Rizard Zado asks in a rather lengthy email, saying that he put on some Storm 3s on his 2004 and he's not happy. He said that they are great at low speeds, but between 80 and 100, the bike feels loose, almost like it's going to shimmy. And he was wondering if I had experienced that. No, I've never experienced that kind of issue with those tires, and I certainly have taken the LT to its end speed. The things to look for, one is, check your pressures. If you're running pretty high pressures on those radials, they can act a little squirrely. So you need to kind of back that down and let the tire do its flex and do its thing. The other thing too is if you're running one of those really large windshields, like the Z-Technic windshield, or maybe even some of the larger C. Bailey ones, they create a whole different air dynamic, and it can cause you to feel like your tires are an issue. Maybe that's a problem with your bike, maybe it's not. Maybe you got some other issues going on that are not related to the tire. So I would start with the pressures though. Vintage Motorcycle Repair is glad that making more LT videos, well, that's kind of what I've been doing. But I don't make them all year round, that's for sure. As many of you know, I have a workshop here that relates to antique furniture. I don't get too many bikes in the winter time. And yeah, I'm glad to be making some more videos. So he was commenting on the Shark bike that I have introduced. He wants to know if I can make some shorter videos and label them with the problem that was found or solved. Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. I'll definitely will make a series of short videos on that and kind of go through, just kind of outline some of the steps. I'm not going to go into great depth unless I find something new that I haven't already created a video for, because a lot of those videos are already out there. Wants to know about the tire age and tread depth, the brake fluid, fork oil condition. Yeah, I'll definitely try to be as detailed as possible on that bike when I go through it. Thanks. Eugene Smiley thinks the bike looks cool, the Shark bike. Well, Eugene, You might be one of the few out there, but yeah, it's coming off. LT Voyager, who's always out looking around for the LT people, says hard to beat the BT020 on the rear with the Metz 880 on the front. Good handling and great mileage. I'm running the 888 front now, and we'll see see if that lasts as long as the 880. I get 12,000 give or take on the BT020 rear and 16 give or take on the 880 front. I have an 07, so I'm limited to bias ply tires. Hey, that's great. Boy, I wish I could get that kind of mileage out of any tire. I don't know how you ride LT, but you probably maybe don't push the thing to the nth degree. If you do, then I'm doing something radically wrong, because I don't get that kind of mileage. Robert Tees said, looking forward to installing my HID kit that just arrived. Did you require the warning cancellation module? I purchased the kit for an 05 LT. Yeah, Rob, if it comes with that cancellation module, they usually do come with it, and go ahead and put it on there. I don't think it's going to set any codes. It's not going to throw a warning light on your dash saying that the headlights are not operating, but if it comes with it, go ahead and put it on there. You can find a place to hide that thing. I've installed enough of them on the later model bikes, aside from like the 02 the 01 and earlier bikes. And I think I've put the cancellation module on there. I've also put them on without, and it works either way. Regarding my first aid kit, Tony Murr asks where would be a good place to find the contents needed for his kit. At a drugstore, maybe? A drugstore would certainly have most of the products that you would want in a first aid kit. There's also a lot of kits online that you can find pre-made, not motorcycle specific, but you can get some really good basics, whether they're at Amazon or through a safety supply house, anything of that nature. I got mine, a lot of like those boxes that you see, they came from North Safety Equipment or MSI, and they work out really good because they fit really well in that case. I've even reboxed and repurposed some of the boxes as things run out, just because I like to try to keep it as organized as I can in that small space. So, good question. Tony also wants to know how the no-code G3500 is working as a trickle charger. Tony, it works fantastic. I have it right here in my shop. It's right there. It's on. It's currently charging a battery. It's actually sitting at 100% right now, but it's trickle charging a battery that I use. I used it on this bike here just to, top it off, and then I have it on another battery right now. So yeah, it works fantastic. I strongly recommend it. Gervais Fillin asked if I would install a Shinko 777 on a Goldwing. Well, that would be if I had a Goldwing. But if I did have a Goldwing, if I got old enough to have a Goldwing, then probably. And I'd probably I would need to put those wheels on it too, and the ones that come down and like a scooter chair. That's what they are. No, I'm just teasing about the Goldwings. Those things kick ass. I like the Goldwings. They're very comfortable and very fast. I do like to give people hassle about them though. Paul Woodson wants to know how long does it take to receive the John Jemmy chip? He's been waiting for over a week. It takes about 2 weeks. It takes maybe just a little more, just give or take a few days, but 2 weeks is usually about the time. I've gotten several chips from him, and it always seems like it's 2 weeks on the nose is when the thing finally shows up. In fact, you asked me this question about a week ago, and so you probably already have it now, so you already know your answer. But the other people that are out there, you're looking to get a John Jemmy chip for your LT or for another motorcycle, just realize it takes a while to get them here in the U.S. The guy lives in Thessalonica, Greece, and it comes on the slow boat, apparently. Tony Murr, again, wrote a while ago regarding a 2008 that he bought from out of state and wanted to know about those headlights if he needed to get both the low beam and the high beam HID kit in advance of having that. Yeah, Tony, you're not going to need to get anything for that motorcycle. There's really no reason to change out the current HID kit that's on there. It comes with one. Just go with it. Save your money. Moto Phoenix commented on my tips and tricks video That he said, LOL, if I had been your missus, I'd have dropped it right then and there. Nice video, though. Thanks. Yeah. Yeah, no, she's a good sport, and she is a very strong woman for sure. I'm glad you guys like that video. A lot of people watch that one. That's one of my more popular ones. Maybe it's because of her. Maybe I should feature her in more of these videos. You guys, let me know what you think. I doubt I could get her to do it, though. Yoshimitsu411 wants to know how to trim the Cena speakers or the Panasonic speakers that I use to modify. I used a bandsaw. Now you may not have access to a bandsaw, but you can use a small coping saw. You can also, you might be able to get through it with a razor, but boy, be careful because, well, for obvious reasons. Jocelyn Legout says, hi, Chris. No, no, name's not Chris. Chris Harris. He's on another video channel. Maybe you're talking about him. No. Looking for some kind of an adapter for my iPhone. Not much model without customized. Do you have one model in mind? Yeah, Josh, I don't. I don't have an iPhone. I use an Android phone. And even if I did have an iPhone, I would still opt for the Bluetooth in my helmet. I feel like that's way better connection, and I can really hear that over having it powered up on my bike. So I don't even have a radio. Most of you guys know about my opinions about the radio on these LTs. Joe Novak wanted to know on my transmission video, and where I take that apart and put it back together, how I got the bearing off. The one that went bad, the pilot bearing. Yeah, Joe, I tried to get that bearing off myself. I went and got some pullers and really gave it hell trying to get that off of there, you know, heating it up and everything. I couldn't get that race to budge, so I wound up taking that to a shop, and somebody used, you know, their press and whatever magic tools they had, and they were able to get that thing off of there and press the new one on. And it didn't cost me very much at all to have that work done, and I'm glad, very glad, that I was able to have that done and not, you know, damage the that shaft, that pilot shaft. So on my things to look for video on the LT when purchasing a used one, Peter Schmidt said the big test I would recommend is to ride the bike. Low miles is not an indicator. A crappy rider on one of these can toast the clutch in under 1,000 miles. Low rev starts are a must. Higher RPMs will fry it. Yeah, and he goes on about that same subject. I fully agree, Peter. If you can take that bike out, or anybody out there, anyone else that's out there looking for a used LT, if you can take it for a test ride, do so and feel that clutch. Make sure it's, you know, reasonably close to the bar when you let that off. That's going to be your first indicator if there's something, you know, horribly wrong. The other thing too, when you're out test riding it, is get it into 4th and 5th gear and really jam on it, you know, gas wise, so that you can see, does the clutch slip. Maybe even pop the clutch a little bit in 4th and 5th gear just to see, is it causing, you know, is something slipping in there. If it is, then you might have an indication that your clutch is really worn out. This bike that's sitting right here next to me is in here for a clutch. It's an 07, it's only got 30,000 miles on it, and the clutch was so burned out on this thing that it actually, you know, glazed up the surfaces on the clutch plate and the, you know, the clutch cover so bad that I actually had to order a whole new setup because it was so bad. And I don't know who, you know, the gentleman that owns this motorcycle did not do that. He does know how to ride a motorcycle and ride one of these LTs. He said it was slipping right from the start, and it just got to the point that he could barely drive it. So, yeah, I would definitely think that that's a great indicator and something that you really should take care of. Take a look at. Almost done here. Charles Sism said that he was thinking about using power steering fluid in his steering damper. I don't know. It might be a little bit lightweight. That might be probably like a 5 weight or maybe even less. You know, that stuff's pretty darn thin because it has to run in all extremes. So you can give it a try. You know, try it on your bench. Try to feel what it feels like prior to you doing that. Take it apart, put that in there if you want. It's not going to hurt the seals or anything. And exercise it a little bit just a test on your bench and see, you know, how much different is it. I found, for me, the right weight that I put in them when I, whether I rebuild them or just refill them, I like to put in like a 7.5 weight, and if I can't find that, I actually will mix, a 5 weight and a 10 weight, and it gets to be about 7.5. So that's right about where you want to be, so that it feels like a stock steering damper. Another thing to know too is a lot of these motorcycles, a lot of these LTs, they don't really need the steering damper, to be honest. Especially the early models. I've actually ridden them without the steering damper, and there's no difference whatsoever. The only time that thing would ever kick in is if it got into kind of a genuine tank slapper kind of action, and it would slow that down enough so you can get a hold on it and get a control on it. So, good question though. Might be something worth checking out. David Knox wants to know if I know where you can get what to do with a broken latch for the top case. I'm not sure what you can do anymore. There used to be a lot of kits floating around, the fix it before it breaks kit, as well as the fix it after it breaks kit. And then you could, replace the latch mechanism on there. I think at this point you might be better off just trying to source a new latch from eBay. Whether you have to buy a top case in order to get the latch off of there, your used market is going to be where you want to go with that. A gentleman maybe from Israel or someplace, I can't read his language when it comes to his name, says, "Hi guys, I changed the bike's remote battery and the bike didn't recognize it. What's the solution?" You might be able to find it in the manual. I haven't had time to look to try to find that answer. It has to do with that alarm system. There is a way, I've heard that there's a way to reset the alarm through a series of key turns, but I don't know what that series is. So if one of you guys out there know that answer, please put it down there, and I will put it down in the comment section how to reset that, and maybe I'll do a video on demonstrating how to do that, or I'll certainly mention it in a upcoming question and answer. Bill LV855 says, "What, a BMW rider with a dirty work table? Sell your bike immediately and buy a Yamaha, or have to report me to authorities." Yeah, I'm glad that I can see that it's below the tabletop is below, because it's a mess. The tools are all over the place. It's a disaster. Brad Mosh wants to know if there's a way to clean the oil sight glass on the LT. Usually the problem is that the silver part that you look through and see, it gets really stained up from contaminants in the oil, and it gets to a point, where it becomes very difficult to look through. I've tried to shoot cleaners up in there, using like gum out and different cleaners to try to rinse off whatever kind of crap is up in there, and have had very little success. So your best option, unfortunately, is going to be to change that when you have some time, not before a big trip, because you need to drop the oil pan off of the motorcycle and then, change out the sight glass from the inside. And I hope that helps you. I don't know. I saved the best for last. This guy was not happy with me. The gist of his message that he wrote was that he wanted to know if I knew how to install a secondary fuel gauge on a secondary tank that he's installing on his either on his LT or his RS or it's something, anyways. And I told him I really don't know that, because I have no experience in that. And he also wanted to know where he could work on his bike in Ohio. Now, he may have been asking me if I knew of some place that he could take his bike to have it worked on, but I really couldn't tell that from what he wrote. I told him I didn't know, and I didn't know anywhere in Ohio we could work on his bike. And I just recommended that he put his question out on the BMW forums, because somebody out there would certainly know. Then he wrote in all caps, "Wow, that's out of all I asked, that's what I get, man, that's sad. Okay, I'll put it on another stupid forum where I can get more stupid answers. I thought you were a forum and you've been doing this a long time and never heard what I asked. All I hear is blow off. Oh, bud, you got some issues. I don't know everything. Just because I work on these things doesn't mean that I have all the answers. And anybody else out there, sure, go ahead, ask your questions. If I say that if I know the answer to it, I'll give you the answer. If I don't, I'm certainly not so proud that I'm going to make something up. I'm just going to say I don't know, and I genuinely don't know. I told him as much. Said that he needed a blue book. I have no idea what the hell that even is. You just need a blue book? What does that mean? Is it a stretch to think it means that he needs the blue book value on something? You could find that on Kelly Blue Book. Oh. And then he comes back again and says that, don't worry, you did what you did first, and you should have did what you're doing now, so you prove to me who and what your true colors are. Oh, thank God. Thank God that I have, my true colors are out there, guys. That's it. You guys know me now. All my true colors are exposed for the whole wide world to see. Not really sure what those colors are. Must be blue. Blue book. Guys, thanks so much for taking a look at this video. Be sure to put your questions down below. Also, do check out my Patreon page at patreon.com/Kirk Johnson if you'd like to help me out directly. Thanks again for watching, guys, and have a great day, evening, whatever. See you on the next one.